Lauren Steinbrecher. Number 1, Jaden Klemmer. 9, Elizabeth Helmick. 10, Miette Veldman. 12, Rebecca Watkins. 15, Sophie Davis. 16, Bree Reed. And 20, Alex Kwasnick. As the opening point going to James Madison. And we'll take a moment and look at the Panthers, led by 11th-year head coach Dan Fisher. Number 2, Valeria Vasquez Gomez. 4, Tori Stafford. 5, Olivia Babcock. 9, Emma Monks. 12, Emmy Klicka. 20, Chiamaka Wokolo. And number 25, Haiti Tautua'a. Serve coming from Madeline O'Toole. Outside for Babcock. Runs into a Duke wall. Vasquez Gomez. And she evens the score up at 1.
And no surprise for JMU with that first point was Sophie Davis, who has 4 consecutive games with 10-plus kills. Also really big at the net in blocking, as she is 3rd in the Sun Belt with 1.18 blocks per set.
Davis, the reigning Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year. There's Vasquez Gomez. Davis off the slide. Stafford has it wiped. Good dig by Klemmer. Shoved over by Davis. Babcock off the shoulder of O'Toole. Man, oh man, Madeline O'Toole swallowed up on that swing, and it's a 2-1 Pitt lead.
Sometimes you have to do anything you can to keep the ball off the floor, and there, as you mentioned, a shoulder pass from O'Toole, just not able to actually keep it in the court.
And it goes for the Panthers as the serve receive a little out of whack right now for James Madison and seemingly out of sorts early.
And that'll be a big key, is what we see from both teams in serve receive, but even more important is what we see at the service line, as both very strong serving teams. As we mentioned to start, the JMU having all those service aces against Oregon just a night ago.
Babcock. Reed gets it right back, smushed up front. Takes a second swipe. Stafford, great lunging dig. Somehow it gets over. Good job by Jaden Klemmer. Vasquez Gomez. Reed, what a volley by these two. Stafford sneaks it over. Good reaction by Reed. Vasquez Gomez somehow keeps it alive. Klicka shoots it over. Reed. Babcock. And it's finished off. Emma Monks puts the Panthers up by 3 after the opening point going to James Madison. Pitt currently on a 4-point streak.
What a rally between these two teams. I mean, I think you had a little bit of everything there. Great offense, great defense, just kind of doing anything you can to keep the ball alive. Everything all in that one set. But the biggest key is that was just 1 point for the Panthers.
Vasquez Gomez, another strong serve. Reed and Klicka fires it, but out of play. And the point streak comes to an end as James Madison cuts down on the deficit. Subs checking in for James Madison, Julia McNeely. McNeely at the service line. Had 11 kills last year in her freshman campaign. Stafford, and she tools the block. A good job by the freshman, and Amanda, I know that we've talked a lot about that freshman tandem of Stafford and Babcock, two players that were top 50 recruits a year ago.
And then you throw in the other freshman setting to them right now in Haiti, and she was able to get all the way across the court and get the ball up with an arm set into the right spot for Babcock.
Snuck over by Watkins. And then Chiamaka Wokolo, who's recently checked in, shoots it over. Davis pummels one. There's Babcock. Wow, the freshman having quite the season, coming off a career-high 16 kills in the loss to Oregon.
And that even more impressive because that set was so high that the defense had all the time in the world to be able to get set up, but she still was able to power it through.
Panthers looking to extend this 4-point lead. And it's an ace. Emma Monks credited with it. And that swells the advantage for the Panthers.
I was very curious as to which team was going to pick up the first ace, as we know that both teams can do it, but it's the middle blocker for the Panthers, Emma Monks.
Here's Monks again. This time just long. And now for James Madison, maybe an opportunity to try and build on that miscue as Alex Kwasnick re-enters, but potentially a good chance here, especially with Sophie Davis serving. Wokolo drops it in, catches everyone at the campfire, and that right there just shows the experience from the grad student.
Impressive set by High T, well past the 10-foot line, and then able to get that right to the hand of Wokolo, and then she had all the daylight there in the middle of the court.
Here's the freshman Olivia Babcock. Veldman, leader in kills on this James Madison team. Wokolo, back-to-back points for the grad student. Wokolo a year ago was an all-ACC second-team selection. Olivia Babcock back at the line, looking to extend this lead to 7. Shot right back, and Klicka keeps it alive. There's Stafford, threads the needle.
What an impressive cut shot there from Tori Stafford, just outside the 10-foot line. But more impressive, you talked about that quick overpass, how hard that is. I think people don't realize how hard that is for opposing teams when you
wants, and I know that you and I mentioned a little bit when we were off air, just how this team seems to figure it out at the perfect time of the season, not peaking too early on in the year.
They definitely, as we've seen, at least over the past 2 seasons for sure, with consecutive Final Four appearances, they play really good volleyball in the month of December.
So coming out of the James Madison timeout as the Dukes trying to stop the bleeding. Kwasnick, smack back. Fantastic tandem blocking, but Chiamaka Wokolo, the star on the rejection.
Good luck getting it by the triple block of the Panthers. They had that play figured out right away, getting all 3 front row players up to block that one.
Largest lead of the opening set. Just barely long. Alexis Akeo as well as Juliana Dalton check in for Pitt. Over for James Madison, Elizabeth Helmick, the junior from Plymouth, Minnesota. Rebecca Watkins, the freshman setter, back to serve. She was an all-region performer at Lassiter High School a year ago. Short set up for Wokolo. Veldman. Stafford. Joust, and it drops for the Panthers. Chiamaka Wokolo just getting up and at that ball quicker, using her 6'1" frame to her advantage.
I've been really impressed so far with the net play of the Panthers. Anything that gets close to the net, at first their swings have been incredible, but anything that gets close to the net as far as an overpass is immediately going onto the ground on the JMU side.
Back set again for Helmick, tipped around, and somehow the Panthers keep the point alive. Helmick again for the 3rd time, and it proves true as she tools the block. Reed checks back in for James Madison, and Veldman back at the service line. She was a first-team all-conference performer in the Sun Belt last year. James Madison competing in the Sun Belt for the first time a year ago. Captured the Sun Belt championship and wound up making an appearance in the NCAA tournament. It's Klicka with great hustle. Reed gets it right back, runs into a block. Great reaction by Veldman in the back row. Free ball opportunity for the Dukes. Helmick runs into the net, and the Panthers continue to just build on each and every single point.
But they're a big missed opportunity by JMU. You get the free ball sent over, and then you hit it straight into the net. Those are the opportunities that you have to take advantage of, especially against a Panthers team ranked 8th in the country, and also when you find yourself at that point down 12-5.
Emma Monks re-enters for the Panthers. Good serve by Klicka. Helmick pushes it too long.
And I don't think that's the game that JMU wants to play. They don't want to play the tip and push and shove kind of game. They are a power team, very strong at the net, and that's what they need to get back to so that they can try and find their way back into this first set.
Reed wiped at the net, and another great dig by Klicka. Vasquez Gomez re-entering into the match and letting her presence be felt up front.
That was textbook volleyball right there. The beautiful quick pass from Emmy Klicka straight to the hands of Lexis Akeo with the beautiful jump set, right, a quick set outside to the pin to Vasquez Gomez, and then just powering it away.
10-point advantage for the Panthers, but that trims back down to a 9-point advantage after the error by Klicka. Sophie Davis re-enters for James Madison, and Jaden Clemmer at the service line. Clemmer had 20 aces last year, had 19 in her freshman campaign. A big smack, stays in play, and once again, it's Tori Stafford this time, and we'll continue to mention it, Amanda. If it's not Babcock, it's Stafford. If it's not Stafford, it's Babcock.
And ironically, they happen to be numbers 4 and 5 on the court, so it's either 4 or 5 that are making a lot of plays so far tonight. Stafford with 3 kills and Babcock with 2.
As High T gets an ace. Tautua'a, the Hawaiian native, swells this lead now to 11 points. And James Madison left with no choice but to call a timeout. And Amanda, aggressive play at the net, a big part of why the Panthers lead 17-6, and just a handful of points away from taking this opening set. Tautua'a awaiting confirmation to put this ball in play. Tautua'a, the #1 recruit from Hawaii last year, and was the number 66 recruit in her class by prepvolleyball.com as she runs that into the net.
And talk about the success that Coach Fisher has had with getting players from the state of Hawaii. I mean, you have on his staff Kamlani Akeo, then her sister comes to the team and currently on the team in Lexis, and then now High T coming from Hawaii as well, and all really, really great players in their own right.
Here's Madeline O'Toole. Stafford gets eaten up by the serve, and Babcock, once again, the freshman just cannot be stopped.
And that's one of the things, Jack, before we did this match, I was telling you the out-of-system play of the Panthers is second to none, and that's what we just saw. Did you see that set from Vasquez Gomez, how far and how she got it exactly to where it needed to go so that Babcock could push the ball down?
Here's Vasquez Gomez. And a good return here. Big chance for the Panthers, and it's Emma Monks who comes up in the clutch. Pitt just 6 points away from going up 1-0. Off the slide, Davis rejected. Monks and Stafford both right on cue.
It just seems like anything that the Panthers want to do, they're doing, and doing it at such a high level right now.
Panthers on a 3-0 run, looking to make it 4. But Davis quickly erases that. And a good approach coming from the 5th year.
And there is your rally killer for JMU. If they need to get a point, they're going to try to put the ball in the hands of Sophie Davis.
Julia McNeely back at the service line. Monks rejected. It's Sophie Davis. Great timing by the fifth year. One of the best blockers in not the Sun Belt, but also the entire country.
Yeah, last year the Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year led the conference in blocks with 148. That's 8th in single season history for JMU.
Panthers trying to finish off this first set. And with swings like that, it can definitely happen. Once again, Stafford comes up big, making it 21-9. Dylan Griffin getting some early action. The sophomore from Foothill Ranch, California. Griffin last year had 3 aces in 20 matches that she saw action in. Veldman has it wiped. Would not have mattered as it drops in anyways. And Miette with great accuracy. Kwasnick re-enters for James Madison. And Hannah Roberts checks in for the Dukes.
But that only the first kill of the night for Miette Veldman, and that is something that JMU has to do better, is getting the ball in her hands as the offense really runs through her and Sophie Davis.
There's Roberts with the serve. Babcock. Man, oh man, this is just a time and a half for defenses to have to figure out. And again, Amanda, I'm sure as a former player in your own right, when you have 2 really strong outside hitters, it really stretches that defense thin.
It does, and also the Panthers running that 6-2 offense, which means that they have hitters in the front row, 3 hitters in the front row at all times. So that stretches defenses in itself. But then when you have players the caliber of Stafford and Babcock that are hitting, it even takes it to a more difficult level, as we saw the overpass there, and probably one of the few errors that we've seen just for any player, but especially for Tori Stafford, just not able to get to battle that joust and have it go her way.
And it's Watkins with an ace. The freshman getting very active with the service ace. Native of Roswell, Georgia. (22-12), Pitt in front by 10. And great recovery by the Panthers to keep it alive. Helmick. Dalton met by a joust. And it goes for the Panthers. 23-12, the Panthers just 2 points away from taking this opening set. And the importance of taking that opening set in a best of 5 is so important. Here's Stafford. Kwasnick smacks it. Dalton returns the favor. Wokolo blocked away. It's Kwasnick throwing up the Duke wall.
So much experience on this JMU team, and there the senior Kwasnick standing at 6'3". A big imposing block there in the middle, and really impressive because that was a single block. She was all alone against Chiamaka Wokolo.
Good serve by Miette Veldman. Vasquez Gomez with the exclamation. And now a set point opportunity for the Panthers. Up by 11 as Vasquez Gomez putting her team in a prime opportunity with Klicka serving. Kwasnick keeps the set alive, and really nice setting also by Rebecca Watkins. And as a freshman, not a whole lot of time to get to know your outside hitters and middle hitters, but able to adjust quickly. Jaden Klemmer. Monks puts an end to it. 25-14, the Panthers.
Come in bunches.
Julia McNeely with the opening serve. And almost sneaking over as Tautua'a almost shot it back over the net, but again, you mentioned it, Amanda, the out-of-system kind of correction that this Panther team can have. It really saves them more times than not a couple points. Babcock. And that one goes wide off the swing by Veldman. So tied back up at 1, and Veldman was not a name we mentioned much in that first set, so already getting some early action here in the second set.
But a player they need to be active, as she led the team in total kills at 423 last season, hitting at a 286 clip.
Veldman again. Stafford has it wiped, and she gets the point.
McNeely tried everything that she could there to stay in the air to try to grab that, but just too high off of the hands of that James Madison block.
McNeely at 5'9", going up against the 6'2" Stafford. Here's Vasquez Gomez again. Joust by Veldman, and the Panthers control. There's Babcock, and it goes long.
Coach Fisher immediately went for that card, though, looking for a challenge there. He's saying that it was in. I wasn't sure if he was going to challenge a touch at the net because it was a relatively low set, or challenge in or out, and it looks like he will be challenging whether that ball was in or out. It seemed from the naked eye, and Jack, I will tell you that I am terrible at calling challenges. So pretty much every time the way that I see it is not the way that our referees see it. But again, that is why I'm sitting up here and why they are down there.
Our referees, Lori Stahara and Scott Thompson. Scott Thompson taking a look at the replay monitor. Well, obviously, Coach Fisher knows a thing or two about challenges, but I think also about volleyball. 4 times that he has been able to capture an ACC championship during his time at Pitt with the Panthers, 3 Elite Eights, and back-to-back Final Fours. Just
slightly impressive.
Just slightly.
And
point goes for the Panthers.
I was going to say, he said that it was, Scott Thompson said that it was out and then pointed to the Panthers, and that would not be correct, but it was called in, and it seemed that it was a very quick review.
I think he's trying to double-check his work. And he is saying, it's my fault.
So he's saying, okay, that was very, very weird. He said that it was out and then pointed at Pitt, and then said that it was in and then pointed at Pitt, but then had the correction to say that it was out and pointed at JMU. We'll give him a pass as it was the first challenge, but
Davis with the serve, and Monks the pummeling swing. Veldman. Babcock. No Tool digs it up. Veldman. She runs into a big block. Babcock and Monks both. And Emma Monks, what an addition she has been to this Pitt team, coming from Michigan State and coming out of really a career-high season that she had for the Spartans with 21 matches that she played in and 72 blocks.
To go along with 133 kills as well. And also a really intelligent player, academic all Big Ten for 3 consecutive seasons. So a really great asset for this Pitt team to have.
Kwasnick. Stafford. And Wokolo. Just too easy.
And that's the experience of a 5th-year senior in Chiamaka Wokolo, knowing exactly where the ball needs to be for her to be able to touch it, just getting over onto her side of the net, and then swiping it to where no JMU player will be able to pick it up.
Early 4-2 lead for the Panthers, looking to make it 3. Veldman, and she misses the mark. So whether it's been the Panthers getting the point themselves or just the Dukes handing it over to them, Pitt, regardless, benefiting. That one just long.
You could see Emma Monks there pointing down like, yeah, that was definitely in, but Not so much. It was a valiant effort to try to say that it was in, but clearly out there. And something, if you could say that the Panthers have done something not well tonight, it's service errors, as they now have 5 of them.
And Wokolo just picking her spots with ease. Babcock back at the service line, but Wokolo, a player with great experience who's also played in some big-time games over her career. So no stranger to the spotlight. Early 6-3 lead for the Panthers. Veldman rifles it. And a net error against the Panthers, so the point goes to James Madison. And now the Dukes potentially now trailing by 2 with an opportunity to try and build on the miscue by the Panthers.
Miet Veldman back at the service line, so a very experienced server. That's the type of player that if you're head coach Lauren Steinbrecher, you want back there in these moments.
Akeo to Wokolo. And there is not a single pass that Wokolo has had a hard time with. Obviously, the setters on the Panthers know exactly where the grad student wants it, but she also knows what to do when it comes her way. Tori Stafford. Reed, and she threads the needle.
And for Bree Reed, just her second kill of the night, as there's a trio of JMU Dukes that have 3 kills in Veldman, Davis, and Reed, but they need a lot more production from those players if they want to have success in this match.
Clemmer with the service error, but again, that's always such a hard thing in volleyball to know on that serve if it's going to be inbounds or not, and got to give a lot of credit again to Emmy Klicka as the libero, kind of being that eyes and ears defensively. Here she is at the service line, trying to put the Panthers up by 4 points. She can't do so, and the advantage for Pitt back down to just 2.
Those are one of those things that coaches hate to see. You get a free point handed to you, and then you give one right back. Definitely not something that Coach Fisher loves from his team there.
Madeline O'Toole at the line. Dalton. Reed. Monks in the back row, and a great pass by Akeo.
But again, all started with a great pass from Emmy Klicka, then getting the ball right to where Alexis Akeo needs it to get that set up, and then Emma Monks just doing what she's done all season, is just put the ball away.
And Monks, again, building off of that strong season she had last year with the Michigan State Spartans. Here's Tautua'a. The joust, won by the Panthers. Vasquez Gomez says, let me just finish the point myself.
She really wanted that joust to go in her favor, and when it didn't, you knew that she was going to be going after the ball as it came back over, as we now have a timeout by the Dukes as the Panthers extend their lead to 4.
So James Madison takes a timeout. The Panthers up 10-6, but we saw the...
But if any team knows what can happen after winning 2 sets, it's the Panthers, as Oregon on Thursday night won the first 2 sets. The Panthers came back and won the next 2. So by no means, if the Panthers are able to pull the second set out, is the game over.
Still a lot of volleyball to be played. The joust, and this time Vasquez Gomez gets her redemption and wins the joust.
And again, that's what I was just talking about. They're not playing their brand of volleyball. That was a pass that was way too tight to the net. No chance for the setter to try to get the ball up, and then that obviously does not help your offense.
Panthers on a 3-0 scoring run, trying to extend it and make it a 4-0 run. Reed takes a little off, and the violation going against the Panthers, so that gives the Dukes the point. McNeely checks in. Looking at some numbers through this match already, really the only glaring thing that James Madison has kind of the clear advantage is the service errors. 6 for the Panthers, 1 for the Dukes. But like we mentioned, this Dukes team, one of the better serving teams in their conference of the Sun Belt. Vasquez Gomez not fazed by the attempted block at all, and the Panthers go back up by 5.
And that's a really great block that she had up against her in Miette Veldman and Sophie Davis, but still Vasquez Gomez has such a strong and powerful swing, just able to power through that block and get the ball down.
Veldman, and she runs into a big wall. Babcock and Monks both. And again, we saw Veldman get set fairly early on in the second set, but to the credit of the Panthers defense, they have seemingly taken her out of sorts. 13-7. Off the slide, Davis. Babcock picks her spot, and the violation against the Dukes this time. So the Panthers pick it up and double up on James Madison.
You know, that might be one of the only ways that James Madison can stop the Panthers right now is by going through the net to try to stop them. As you have Chiamaka Wokolo with 6 kills, Vasquez Gomez with 5, Tori Stafford with 5, and Babcock with 5.
Davis shoves it down.
And that there, just a play by the freshman Tori Stafford trying to be a little bit too aggressive, going up against the setter as she should, but then that leaves, as the setter is able to get that ball up, that leaves the outside pretty much in that moment, and that rotation with Sophie Davis just able to have free reign of the court.
Here's Hannah Roberts trying desperately to get her Dukes back into this second set. Smacked back by Veldman, and she puts an end to the rally.
And those are the types of things that this James Madison team needs. Letting the game come to them, not giving up those free points, and just really staying within themselves.
Roberts, another good serve. Veldman has it wiped, and she tools the block. And now James Madison starting to string together some points. The Panthers just looking for answers right now. They're still playing very strong, but they do not want to allow the Dukes back into this one. And it's an ace. Roberts once again serving to Vasquez Gomez. That's the 3rd consecutive time that she picked out the redshirt senior. 4-0 run for the Dukes. As Roberts trying to make it just a 2-point ball game. Monks says not so fast.
And who else to stop that rally than the first pass by Emmy Klicka? She even was diving backwards, still able to get it on target to High T, and then High T throwing it up to Emma Monks, who, oh, by the way, now also has 5 kills. So there are 4 Panthers with 5 kills, and then Chiamaka Wokolo leading all players with 6.
Very widespread offensive effort right now by the Panthers. As the Dukes completely out of sorts, and the Panthers will gladly take it. And to your earlier point, Amanda, that's again the difference that we see in how the Panthers can, when they're not necessarily in sync on that first touch, they can still figure it out. And for the Dukes there, they could not find the answer. Dylan Griffin with a nice serve. Veldman, and she runs into a big roof. The block by Wokolo and Babcock both.
Welcome to the arms of the 6'5" Olivia Babcock. Thanks for coming and watching the ball go down on your side.
Short, quick, and to the point, as Babcock having quite the stat line. 5 kills, 3 blocks, and 2 digs, doing a little bit of everything. Having a freshman that is that versatile can be such an impactful thing. Here's Griffin again. Veldman. Babcock, and it's in play. And now the Panthers starting to figure things out, put things together, and the Dukes call a timeout to try and regather.
Ball over to your opponent's side.
Sophomore Dylan Griffin still serving with her team in front by 7. Off the slide, and that goes wide as Annie Smith tried finding pay dirt but came up empty.
And that's the problem when you have such a big block in front of you, is that you try to go around it, but whenever you do that, there's only so much space around a double block.
5-0 run by the Panthers, trying to make it 6, but off the mark on the serve by Griffin. That sends Rebecca Watkins back to the service line. Watkins already with 1 ace this evening, has 11 assists. Wokolo rips it right through the thickets of the defense. And Wokolo just feeling it throughout this entire match. An all-ACC second-team selection a year ago. Was also an all-tournament selection in the NCAA tournament. Here's Babcock with a big serve. Smith pokes it over, and too many touches by the Panthers. Gives the point to the Dukes. Reed checks in for James Madison, and Akeo, as well as Dalton, both enter in for the Panthers.
And Dalton, one of those players who before coming to Pitt, played at Washington State primarily as a hitter only, and then last season became a really dual threat player with her passing and hitting.
Back set for Stafford. And that one pummeled right through as Annie Smith getting active and getting set to very frequently over the last few plays as well. Dukes trail by 6. Trying to stick around in this second set and avoid going down 2-0. Here's Veldman. Stafford. Helmick. Dalton, and she tools a block. The former Washington State player who was an all Pac-12 freshman team selection in her lone season at Wash State, getting active on the outside.
And actually playing on the right side right now, but in that rotation, swinging on the outside, which is what she's more familiar with, and then just swinging and dominating that overpass. Had no chance there as that ball came right back, right in her wheelhouse, finishing it off as the Panthers now 3 points away from taking this second set and taking the 2-0 lead.
Blair Bayless has checked into the match for the Panthers, the freshman from Texas. 22-14, make that 23-14. The ace for Stafford, and everything going the Panthers' way. This is a Panther team that last year finished 7th in the ACC in service aces with 178. Reed, a great dig by Klicka. Stafford. Reed rifles it. Right back for Helmick, and Akeo with the hands. There's Bayless. Set point for the Panthers. A chance to go up 2-0. Stafford with the serve.
Beautiful out-of-system play that we talked about, Jack, early on in this broadcast. Just able to keep the ball alive, and any player can get the ball set up.
And she runs into tape, so James Madison earns second life and stays alive. Davis enters in for the Dukes. Clemmer back at the service line. Bayless finishes the second set. 25-15, nearly an identical score in the second set.
and fell in 5 sets, but they just aren't playing like they did last night in any facet of the game.
Veldman, and another great dig by Klicka. Just a ball magnet. Smith sneaks it over. Vasquez Gomez with an absolute missile.
And you want to hear a wild stat right here, Jack?
I'm always interested in wild stats.
Vasquez Gomez is an outside hitter, currently 6 for 6 in attempts, hitting 1,000.
Keep feeding the hot hand. Smith. Vasquez Gomez. And she gobbles up Klemmer on that swing. Well, Amanda, I think you spoke that one into fruition.
And usually there's always the announcer jinx. Like if after saying that, she usually would probably hit into the net. Or not usually for her, but just because I said it. But, you know, really making me look good.
Early 2-0 lead. Veldman turned away. Smith takes her turn, and Klicka taking that one out of the ground. Vasquez Gomez, another kill. It's deja vu.
Like you said, feed the hot hand. And I think at this point, her hand is on fire. 8 for 8 in this match.
I'm not a fire expert, but I believe the hottest flame is a white flame. So I think that is what she's swinging with right now. Veldman. Helmick, and she tools a block as Vasquez Gomez went crashing into the pin, but good job, good thing that she's all right. Nonetheless, Dukes finally get on the board in this third set as they look to avoid falling in straight sets and losing 2 consecutive matches. Veldman at the service line. Stafford. Reed punched right back. Monks and Vasquez Gomez right at the scene of the crime.
And Vasquez Gomez is doing it all. 8 kills, 2 assists, 3 digs, 1 block. Let's get a service ace here. Why not?
Now 5 Panthers with 5 or more kills. Talk about widespread offense. Reed. And a great up by Klemmer, but that's all she can do with it. And the Panthers just continuing to fire on all cylinders. And here is arguably the best server on this Panther team in Vasquez Gomez back at the line. Helmick. And she goes wide. And I think if you're James Madison, obviously down by 5, might have to start thinking about a timeout if you can't stop the bleeding. It's an ace.
I did ask for it a few points ago, but she answered the call. Now filling up the stat sheet with 8 kills, 2 assists, 1 ace, 3 digs, 2 blocks.
An AVCA second-team All-American a year ago. And it's back-to-back aces. Vasquez Gomez and the Panthers absolutely loving it. And there's that timeout for James Madison, desperately trying to...
They just happened to go 15-1 in their first year in the conference. And then, as I mentioned earlier, lost to BYU in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But overall, they had a 24-5 season. So this is a James Madison Dukes team that has seen a lot of success over the years, just not finding it tonight.
James Madison previously was in the CAA, where they were a 6-time conference champion before coming to the Sun Belt. Panthers looking to swell this lead even larger. Stafford gets it right back, and this time it proves true.
How about Tori Stafford covering herself after she gets blocked, getting a good enough pass off to high tee so that the ball can come right back to her and she can put it away.
Stafford, no stranger to playing at a very high level against great competition, was the MVP of the Under Armour All-American match. Smith blocked. It's Monks.
And Jack, I don't think we can highlight this freshman class for the Panthers enough. One of the highest ranked that they've ever had at number 8 by prepvolleyball.com. In the first instance in program history that Pitt had added 2 first-team All-Americans in the same class in Babcock and Stafford. And there she is there. Do you think that she knew that I was talking about her up here?
She must have AirPods or something. Maybe she's listening, because the announcer jinx has been erased, which I personally love. 11-1 as the Panthers on an 8-0 run, starting to race away with this third set. Vasquez Gomez again. Helmick. And she misses the mark. Nothing going in the Duke's way right now. Panthers hitting .574 for the match. James Madison hitting 0. Babcock right on cue. Like I said earlier, if it's not Stafford, it's Babcock, and vice versa. And the freshman tandem all smiles with the Panthers now on a 10-0 scoring run.
My, oh my, can she get up?
Things unraveling for James Madison. Free ball opportunity for the Panthers. Babcock, and she wins the point. A little fun fact about Olivia Babcock, she's the first member of her family sets. 14-1, as nothing has gone the Duke's way. And another good timeout by Coach Steinbrecher in her 14th season at James Madison, just trying to find something to slow down the momentum that's been built up by the Panthers. Smith goes long. And once again, that float serve continuing to throw everything out of sorts for James Madison on their end.
But that was one of their best opportunities. They actually got a good pass there and just couldn't finish it off at the end.
Helmick. Monks paintbrushes it over. Klicka with a great recovery. Here comes Stafford with a ton of heat. 16-1. I don't have the Webster Dictionary definition of dominance in front of me, but if I did, I think it would be this score right here, Amanda.
It absolutely would be, but it's all about balance for the Panthers. There are now 3 Panthers with 8 kills apiece in Vasquez, Gomez, Stafford, and Babcock, and Wokolo with 7.
And Vasquez Gomez serve streak comes to an end, makes it 16-2. As Jaden Clemmer heads back to serve. Clemmer comes from a volleyball family. Her sister plays at Roanoke College. Monks, a great chase by Veldman. Free ball opportunity for Pitt. Monks again. Davis tips it over. Blair Bayless with a big, powerful swing, and it's finished by guess who? Olivia Babcock.
And Babcock says, hey, Blair, my freshman teammate, that was a great swing, but I'm going to finish this off for you.
She said, I will show you how it's done. But talk about the great job that Blair Bayless has also done in some limited action this evening, but still been very efficient. Here's Monks. Davis. Bayless in the back row, finds space.
And there again, we mention a player, they do something great.
Broadcaster jinx not living up to its name today. Amanda, I think you and I can both agree we'll take that.
Any day of the week.
18-2, a 16-point Pitt lead. Off the slide for Davis, and Babcock could not recover. And Sophie Davis, she has been a bright spot this evening for James Madison, trying desperately to keep her team in this one. Madeline O'Toole, a 5'8" sophomore from Louisville, Kentucky. Babcock. And the net error goes against James Madison. But again, that also I think goes to show you the presence that Babcock brings.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it earlier. One of the only ways that it seems like James Madison could be able to stop the Panthers is by going through the net to stop them.
Here's Babcock's serve. It's an ace. 20-3. As the Panthers wanting to wrap this one up in straight sets.
And this top spin serve from Olivia Babcock so hard. As you can see, every player on the back line thought that ball was going out and then just dropping right on that end line.
Another ace. Not once, but twice. The freshman with impeccable accuracy makes it 21-3. Davis, she finally puts an end to the streak, just trying desperately to keep her team alive in this one as they're in jeopardy of falling in straight sets and also in jeopardy of potentially losing back-to-back matches. Here's McNeely. Vasquez Gomez. Veldman, the sidewinder.
What a cut shot there from Veldman, just finding a spot through the block and then dropping it right at the 10-foot line.
Veldman up to 4 kills. Fairly low number for the team leader in the category. Bayless. Bayless gets it again, and she's stuffed by Veldman.
And this is the Miette Veldman that this JMU team needed for the entirety of this match. Not just here as they find themselves down 21-6 in the third set. They needed to see that from the jump, and credit the Panthers for being able to stop everything that JMU wanted to do and kind of really making everyone tentative for this Dukes team.
Dalton with a nice approach and makes it 22-6. Logan Mosley checks in. Grad student, transfer from Virginia Tech. Davis. There's Kat Flood asking for a tip, and she gets it. Checking in late to the match is the senior hailing from Illinois. Mosley again at the service line. Finished her Virginia Tech career with the 7th most digs all time, but can't get the dig there.
And you talk about any player that knows this team better than themselves, it would be Logan Mosley, as she had to play this Pitt team on many occasions in her career at Virginia Tech, probably seeing, you know, maybe I want to join that team now.
If you can't beat them, join them. Somehow it's deflected around, and the net violation against the Dukes. And Coach Steinbrecher reaching for the challenge card, and for good reason, because why not challenge it?
The team and the Pitt wrestling team that is estimated to be finished being built in the fall of 2025, and that will be a beautiful facility as we see the call stand and the net call, and you can see Scott Thompson kind of saying, hey, that was the call on the court. I didn't see anything clearly that was going to overturn that, and that's always my big thing with challenges is what is the call on the court, and can you find actual evidence to completely flip that call?
Match point situation for the Panthers, trying to pick up their 5th win all-time against James Madison. Good serve by Klicka. Veldman. Flood. Smith takes a smack, and she benefits picking up a point. Elizabeth Helmick checks in. Rebecca Watkins back at the service line. Panthers trying to finish this one up. Monks tools a block, and that is your match. The Panthers take it in straight sets, 25-8 in the 3rd set, as they absolutely put a stomping on James Madison.